Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, wherever in the world you may be joining us from today. My name is Francesco Del Carpio, and I am the CFAL York Operations Coordinator. I would like to officially open the first session in our Climate AI Innovation Hub, Scaling Climate Solutions with AI speaker series, presented in partnership with the Advanced Disaster and Emergency Rapid Response Simulation Lab here at York University and the Canadian Intellectual Property Office. I would like to begin today with a land acknowledgement. We acknowledge and recognize that many Indigenous nations have long-standing relationships with the territory upon which our campuses are located that precede the establishment of York University. The area is known as Toronto and has been caretaken by the Anishinaabe Nation, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat. It is now home to many First Nation, Inuit, and Métis communities. We acknowledge the current treaty holders, the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. The territory is subject to the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement to peaceably share and care for the Great Lakes region. As this is an online event, our participants may be joining from various locations, so I strongly encourage you to learn about the traditional land upon which you are located. With this, I welcome our moderator, our speaker, and our participants from around the world. Welcome to our webinar. For those who may not be familiar with CFAL York, our center was established in 2020 and started its operations in 2021. CFAL York was created in collaboration between the United Nations Institute for Training and Research and York University with York Region to develop and deliver training and knowledge sharing, as well as capacity building programs across 6 focus areas, which are disaster risk reduction, emergency management and humanitarian response, health development, environment and climate change, technological innovations, digital technologies, and AI for human, social, and environmental health and well-being, equity, diversity, and inclusion, entrepreneurship, local economic development, sustainable transportation and cultural heritage, and citizen science labs for sustainable development goals. It is now my great pleasure to introduce our moderator, Dr. Houman Razavi. Houman Razavi is a PhD fellow at ITESM and a visiting researcher at U Ottawa in engineering science. With an extensive experience of network design and information security in academia and industry, he has been serving as CTO and co-founder of IEP since 2020, a Canadian firm in education technology. His expertise also spans AI-based networks, IoT and IoT-driven systems, as well as IoMT technology and devices. Dr. Razavi, thank you very much for moderating today's session and your ongoing help in putting together this series. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Francisco. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Climate AI Innovation Hub talk series. My name is Houman Razavi, and I am the moderator of these talk series. For those joining us live, thank you for being here. And to those who will be listening to this conversation later, we are glad you are part of this community as well. Also, we have Canadian Intellectual Property Office as our partner in this talk series. Thanks them. At Climate AI Innovation Hub, we focus on exploring how artificial intelligence and novel technologies can accelerate climate solutions, improve resilience, and support the transition to a low carbon and sustainable future. Through this series, we highlight founders, innovators, and leaders who are building real world climate technologies and scaling them for impact. Today, we are excited to welcome Dr. Hamed Noori, founder and CEO of SenseNet, to share his journey and insights. Hello, Hamed, how are you?
Hi. Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. And to start us off, could you share a bit about your background and what led you into climate-focused technology?
Yeah, for sure. So quick background on myself. I did a PhD in electrical and computer engineering at University of British Columbia in Vancouver. And my background is mostly in engineering. Before that, I was in Europe. I did mechatronic and microsystem. And before that, I did power engineering. Always my focus was in like wireless communication mostly, and my PhD was on autonomous driving. But during the 2017, 2018, while I was a PhD student, there was a lots of fire in British Columbia. And during that fire, there was a lot of smoke in Vancouver. And Vancouver had the lowest air quality on the planet. So we literally couldn't go outside. Like 3 weeks, everyone was inside and we couldn't see anything. There was a smoke. So at that point, actually, I started to look into the problem, to understand why this problem is happening, why I cannot go out. So what is going to happen in future? So I did a lot of research on the climate, the fire, the future of the fire, the technologies being used, especially at the time. And I got terrified because the future was a bit scary. The growth of the fire was going to be more and more and more because of the climate impact. And the technology wasn't that good because they were using the same tools they were using like 50 years ago. And that's why I tried to help with it and shift my focus to climate problem.
Oh, great. That was the problem you have seen to have this idea to create something like SenseNet. And could you please explain a little more about the SenseNet technologies and how does SenseNet combine something like sensors, ground-based sensors, IoT technologies, satellite data, and other technologies you are working with them to do the detection, monitoring, or something else? Could you please explain a little more?
Yeah, for sure. So actually, I can share my screen so people can see visually as well as discussed.
Very well.
Yeah. So a quick background on the company. We started around 2019 after that's the problem I saw. And we are based on Vancouver, but right now we have a global footprint. So the idea was because we know fire problem is very big and we don't understand how to deal with it. So we need to decision-making support and help with the government and also private enterprise. So for that reason, we try to build a very integrated, comprehensive solution that integrate different type of data and analyze them with AI, process them, and provide a very insightful decision-making tools for the government and also enterprise. The way it works, we collect data. And to be able to collect data, we actually develop our own hardware as well. So in the offering, we have sensor data, which we usually install in high-risk area. These sensors usually measure gas environment, like CO2 level, CO level, methane, temperature, humidity, and anything related to fire, we actually collect that data. And we also have a camera data, which we usually partner with a telecom operator like Rogers. And we install this camera on top of cell tower or on top of some building to monitor a larger scale area. Then what we do, we feed this information to a platform and we process all of those in the real time. On top of these real-time data with our own data source, we also use more than 20 different satellite data. And these satellite provide us like daily images every couple of hours. So we analyze them and we compare with the previous satellite images and everything. And we combine all these data, run an AI on it, and we provide the insight to the customer. So for us, our framework is like very comprehensive. It starts even before any fire happens. So what we do, we provide proactive fire management tools. Like we are even someone want to understand what are the risks on their area. So we have a solution for that. So what we do, we model the potential fire. We use our own data plus satellite to calculate the risk with high resolution. We provide historical information. We provide vegetation mapping, vegetation management, and others to the customer so they can understand what they have to do. The next level is actually detection of the fire. So any fire that happen in our coverage area, we actually detect it very fast. We have our own sensors, which are very fast and the fastest globally. They can detect the fire in a couple of minutes in a smoldering phase when there's no visible sign even. Then we have our visual detection, which is with the cameras, and this camera can monitor like 50-kilometer radius. Then we have a satellite-based detection as well. Then after the fire already happened, we have offerings for government or utilities or enterprise If they have a command center, for example, they're monitoring 1,000 fire at the same time. So what we do for them, we analyze all those fire in the real time, and we tell them what are the top 20 priority fire they have to deal with, because it could damage the most, or it could damage their infrastructure, that kind of stuff. We also help the decision-making support. So for example, how to allocate resource, where to go, and many others. And at the fire front, we also provide solutions. For example, if there's one specific fire they're fighting with, so we provide fire spread model very accurately on a minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day basis, so they can understand what's happening. We tell them where to have to put some water to stop the fire. Where are the natural barrier, for example. You don't need to worry about those type of the growth, so they focus on the places what matter, and many more information. So it's kind of, we develop a very comprehensive integrated solution at SenseNet to help with the fire problem. Because as I mentioned, fire is so big and very important problem to solve. And we're trying to provide actually platform that can help to make a decision faster and easier and based on the data, rather than just relying on human thinking.
Oh yeah, actually, you have developed the technologies in the sensor level and also a kind of fusion with different type of data, and you have made a kind of maybe cloud platform for a client. That's interesting, because I know the wildfire problem is so complicated to solve. It's different to the geography and other parameters. But before we are going to your personal journey, that would be interesting for our audience. Can you share some example of real world deployment and the real world impacts of your company and solution for the communities and ecosystem, and also talk a little about your clients?
Yeah, for sure. Then I have to share my screen again.
Thank you.
So right now, actually, we have a global footprint. We have installation in more than 11 countries. We are in Canada, US, Latin America, and Brazil, Chile, Uruguay. Right now, actually, I'm in Sao Paulo in Brazil, so we have several meetings here as well. We have installation in New Zealand, Australia, Indonesia, and many more. Right now, we are covering more than 245 million acres globally, and we have detected more than 6,400 fire for the client. So each of these fire actually potentially save lives. So that's what we proud of. And our footprint is increasing again. These are a couple of images. We just put it as a reference how our system is actually detecting very fast. One of the very good reference we have is city of Vernon in British Columbia. And before they install our solution in 2022, they had a lots of fire. As you can see in this picture, in Vernon, there was fire every year, and a lot. And as an example, in 2021, they had a massive fire. They lost a lot of land, cars, house burned down, and they had a very big problem of the insurance. They couldn't get any insurance, and so it was a very big problem for them. But since they installed our solution in 2022, they have zero wildfire outbreak, because we detected more than 360 fire for them, less than 3 minutes. So right now, they're actually loving our solution. We have a major footprint in the area. We have several private customers, city as a customer, and many more. So this actual live impact in British Columbia, which save a lot of land and even houses and people lives too. So that's one of the very good results we have. Actually, another one is which very, very recent is in a city called City of Vino del Mar in Chile. So last year they had a big fire, and unfortunately 150 people died on that fire. So it was a massive tragedy in that. So what they did, they installed our solution. And this year, because right now is a summer season there, we actually detected like lots of fire, which could have been same uh, damage and destruction. But because they detected very early and they were able to put the fire out very fast. And actually, right now they're like very happy with the result and they love our solution. And if you Google or look mayors and everyone just talk about the solution and they say how good the technology is because it's preventing uh, destruction.
Great. From Canada to Chile to New Zealand, you are working in different continents. But
Yeah. Yeah.
from the point of view
Unfortunately,
of so go ahead.
yeah, we think that unfortunately, because the climate problem is not just for one country, it's global.
Yeah,
There's no border, and everywhere you see, if there's a tree, there's a chance of the fire. It could damage the environment and could potentially kill people. So that's very scary, and we're trying to solve this problem globally.
yeah, actually, but have operation in different countries because of the different kind of policies and regulation. It's not easy, and you are operate across different countries. How do wildfire risk profile and policy environment vary, and how does the affect your deployment strategy? And could you please explain the operational challenge actually in different countries?
Yep, yeah, of course. So not only every country is different, even every province is different, and even if the different city are different. So it's very challenging. And for example, even in Canada, so the way city of Burnaby dealing with the fire is different than city of Vancouver. They regard beside each other, but the concept is different. City of Burnaby is our customer, for example. City of Vancouver is not, because it's a different mindset, different operation, and different priorities everywhere. So overall, it's a challenging task to be able to have a customer in different city, different state, different country. But what we try to do is focus on the value the solution is providing. So because everyone can see the value. So you cannot find one person on a global scale. They say we don't want fire solution, Everyone say, of course it's a good idea. We should have it. But the whole point is how can we make sure they see the value, they can use the system, how can that integrate to their current operation? What are the potential the benefit? What are the potential damage that it could cause? Even, for example, if there's a delay in integration or they don't receive the response because of the language, everything is like should be the fix before even we do the installation in the country. The way we try to solve this problem to actually build a partner. So we have like more than 100 partners globally right now. So what we do, we try to work with the major player in different countries and build a partnership with them and rely on their expertise in each country to provide the support for our installation and deal with the customer directly as well, while we are providing the 24/7 support from Canada uh, for those customers. But overall, building the partnership also is challenging, as it requires understanding of the culture, understanding how businesses operate in different countries. And as we grow, we learn in different country. We just rely on support from the government, support of our partner, or uh, so they can make an introduction and many other way to build that partnership.
Yeah, and could you enumerate the most significant challenges in working with the partners, stakeholders, and also from the operational point of view, the challenges with environmental data and cleanness about the false alarms? Could you please talk in this way to know the barriers and challenges? Thank
Yeah, one of the major one is actually the privacy problem, because as you know, we have a camera, and this camera are very high quality, high resolution. We can zoom in like 50 kilometer and can see what's happening on that area to detect the smoke. So to be able to show this cameras is being used only for fire detection and monitoring, is a bit challenging and is that it requires significant study and discussion with the customer. So the way our solution work, we have AI on top of our camera. So we blur any identifiable object like human, cars, houses. We don't see anything. It's just a blur. The only thing visible is like the smoke of in the forested environment. So it's very secure, but to be able to actually show that to the customer, make sure they understand it, make sure they use it and trust the technology is a bit challenging and significant. And also uh, uh, the ownership of the data, where the data is stored. So, all this information is a bit significant challenge to be able to deal with. In terms of the false positive and stuff, our system right now is so good because we've been operating like 6, 7 years. Right now, we have like 98% accuracy, and we never miss any fire. We always detected, and 2% false positive is like not that significant. People don't use our system. So on that side, technology-wise, our system is operating well. But in the operation side, the challenges are building trust. The core challenge is that because people want to trust in the solution. They wanted to make sure not only the system work for detecting fire, but is not being used for other purposes,
Yeah, great. And I want to talk about and ask you about the entrepreneurship point of view. You are you are founded and managing and growing a startup, and could you please give me a landscape about the fundraising opportunities and about the situation in these years? It's a good area to invest for young entrepreneurs, for young students, or not?
Yeah, definitely. So what I suggest to usually to people, uh, try to build something. That should be your purpose, and that thing should have an impact in the world. And if you find something impactful, there's always investment opportunity. Right now, climate is a very big problem, even based on the political uh, time we are in. Still, we will see the damage of the climate impact, and everyone is going to talk about it again soon. So it's better to start working on it if you have any idea how can improve this problem in a different area, because the problem is so big, it requires a lot of effort to solve this. And it's not just one person or one company or even 100 companies' job. It's like the global effort should put into this problem. And it should be awareness everywhere. Everyone should talk about it and try to solve the problem with it. So in my opinion, yes, definitely. So this climate, despite the discussion on the climate based on political theme we have right now, but overall is going to get worse. So, and if there is a solution which could solve it, or even is 1% of the problem, so there will be good opportunity in terms of the providing commercial value as well.
Yeah, and I know that you're currently your company is covering more than 2 million hectares of forest. Yeah, and
Uh,
what's your
Actually,
am I right?
240 million acres.
Oh, 240 million. Great. And what's your next plans? You're going to expand the coverage area or going to new products for forecasting wildfires or something like going to other types of disasters? What's your expansion plan for your company?
Yeah. So right now, in terms of the fire, our plan is actually grow globally. So we are targeting different countries in Latin America, Southeast Asia, and also Europe. So we're expanding in Europe very soon. Our target is like we will be in 20 countries by end of this year. While we are doing fire detection, we're also working on, in general, natural disaster prevention. Our company, we see ourselves as not just the fire detection, but actually natural disaster prevention and management. So our system can be used for flooding, like earthquake management after the damage, or anything like that. So in future, we see ourselves as a natural disaster company.
Oh, great. And what kind of policy or funding mechanism would meaningfully accelerate climate-related technologies? And do you have any suggestion to who are in government or who are in funding agencies for accelerating the research and development in this area?
So in general, depending on the country, there's still a lots of climate-related funding. But unfortunately, next few years is going to be everything about the military stuff. So ideally, if anyone wants to start a company, you should find a dual purpose uses. So for example, something can be used for defense plus climate, for example, that kind of stuff. So there's going to be a lot of funding on that area, unfortunately. So not that much on climate. But what I feel it after a couple of years of seeing the damage the climate could cause, the government also is going to spend a lot of money on that again. And always it's hard to convince something to build a solution as the insurance, because they cannot just measure it. And for example, when our company works, there's no fire. And it's hard to measure the impact, because the fire didn't happen. They don't know how much damage it could cause. So always it's a bit challenging to be an insurance provider, kind of. And but I suspect if the government wanted to keep the planet alive, they have to invest on that kind of company uh, very soon again. And it should be like impactful, because there are lots of fundings go to some solution which I don't believe on it that much, which can be used for different purposes much better. And I shouldn't tell this, but for example, carbon capture technologies, billions of the money is going there, but it should have been used for different purposes, for preventing carbon emissions, preserving the fire, preserving the forest, that kind of stuff. But hopefully in the
Yeah,
future, things will change.
yeah, great. But about the audiences, have you any question from audiences or not, Francisco?
No, I don't see
Because
any questions from the audience yet, but please, if anyone in the audience does have any questions, feel free to either raise your hand and we can open up the mic for you, or type your questions in the Q&A or the chat.
okay, great. And as something to wrapping up my questions, I want to have the Hamid advice to young generation, students, entrepreneurs who are love to work in climate-related startups and technologies, or researching on these. For example, some students are working in their PhD or master thesis on climate-related technologies. Do you have any specific advice for them?
Yeah, I can give advice. I think I'm old enough to give good advice, I think. So one of the things actually I tell everyone, especially the young student, so this thing define you 10 years from now, who you are, how successful you are, is the thing you are doing right now. So you have to think about that. That's very important. Maybe it's very obvious, but sometimes it's not that obvious. People forget about that, because who you are in 10 years is what you do right now. So, and the best thing you can do is to build a vision for yourself. and what you want to be in 10 years. And is that something you want to do, something impactful or something nice, or what you want to do in your life? So that's very important to have in your brain. And whatever you have to do in your life, it should follow that vision. And every year is going to change because you learn new things. But every time you think about your future in the next 10 years, you have to know what you want to do. And you have to start from now to be able to achieve that. And the way I try to advise to do it, for example, 10 years maybe is long to plan, but imagine 5 years from now, what you want to have, what you want to be, where you want to be in your career. So decide that, create your milestone in 5 years. After you're creating that, think about that, what you have to do and where you have to be in 4 years to be able to achieve that 5-year milestone. Then after you define that 4 years, think about, okay, where I have to be in 3 years to be able to achieve this 4 years goal. Just do the same thing for 2 years and 1 year. Then think about, okay, if I want to be there in 1 year, what I have to do in next 6 months to be able to achieve that goal. So this gives you a very clear path to your goal. And anything you're doing in your life should be in this path. Otherwise, you're not doing it right. And every 6 months, every 1 year, you have to adjust it because you learn new thing. But the whole point is you should have a clear vision. You should have a clear path to be able to achieve your goals and make impact in your life and to the world. And one thing is very important you understand. In my opinion, the only thing makes someone very successful is the vision they have about themselves and their life. So if you have a good vision, you try hard, you will work and figure it out. And my opinion, try to build something yourself. Don't work for some other company.
Great. Great. And dear Francisco, is there any question from the attendees or not?
No, I'm not seeing anything coming in.
Okay, so we can wrapping up the session with Hamid.
Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, is there any last words that you want to share, Hamid, or is that
No, that was
that was
great talking to everyone. So
perfect?
pleasure being here. And I
Yeah,
hope we don't need to talk about the climate issue in 10, 15 years because we solved it.
yeah, hopefully. Yeah, well,
Okay.
thank you so much. I think that was a great wrap up with the advice for the younger generation that's currently working on the technology that we'll be using in the future. So thank you so much for the great conversation, the great discussion. Thank you to Dr. Razavi as well for moderating and for facilitating the discussion. Thank you, of course, to everybody in the audience for taking the time to join us today. And also thank you to our partners at Addersim and at CIPO. So with that, I just want to remind everyone that this is a monthly series, so we will be having another session in March on the 26th as well. Registration is still open, so if anybody would like to share this with their network or with any colleagues who might find these topics interesting, please feel free to do so. This session is also being recorded, so please feel free to also share the video when it's live on our YouTube or to review it if you would like to. And if there are any follow-up questions, please feel free to send me an email and I will pass them along to Dr. Noori. So I'm putting my email here in the chat. And with that, just one last big thank you to everybody. I think this was a great session, a great way to start off this series. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. See you then.